Hi, I thought I'd give you a bit of a walkthrough, let you know how things are getting on with the spray booth. It's now been in use for over a week. I've set myself up a little bit of a mixing area in my workshop to mix things up. I had hoped that upon sort of pulling the gun out the box, quick familiarisation and a mix up, and I'd be a spraying god. But clearly, it's not as easy as you would like to see, or like to imagine rather. Some of these experts do make it look very, very easy. The shape and size of the chassis in this small spray booth isn't ideal. Maybe I might be better off shoving it over one side and just trying to concentrate on one side, or maybe just the bottom. Having it sort of as it is, and a cool underneath it, it's a little bit of a fuffle, but I think I'm getting somewhere. I've been using the gun supplied by the company that does the 2-pack paint. It's a chassis kit that comes with various cleaning bits and pieces as well. So what I had done is basically clean all the chassis down. I went around blowing all the holes out to try and get all the media out, obviously all the sand blast, as you might easily refer to it. Got as much of the sand out as I could do, hoovered it all up, cleaned it all down, wiped it all down 2 or 3 times, put some salt remover on it, and had a go at starting to spray stuff out. We probably seen the first video earlier anyway. Getting the consistency between the 2-pack paint and the thinners is clearly very, very critical. Unlike filler, where if you just mix it all up, golf ball to a pea approximately is okay. This is seems much more accuracy is required. You notice it straight away when you start spraying it if it's a little bit too thick, and you may have to add a little bit more in to try and thin it all out. With the 2-pack stuff, you've got to mix it together, let it set for 10 minutes, and then put an appropriate amount of thinners in, whether you're hand painting it or spraying it, 10% or 20% respectively, and just having maybe 8 or 15% instead of 20 really does affect the amount of globules, or the way that the actual stuff mists up as you spray it. So you obviously comes out very, very dry at times. You have to keep your eye on it. Do your test spray before you put a whole pot of paint in. Make sure it's going to come out okay. As you can see, just walking around the booth, getting quite a lot of overspray onto the plastic, where I'm obviously trying to spray out the chassis rails. If you reduce the fan setting, obviously you've got to reduce the paint amount appropriately. So sometimes I've left it as it is, working on flat surfaces, just trying to tackle the chassis area. It was quite hard with the gun, the regulator and the filter to try and get into some of these areas. As you can imagine, trying to get your hand through various places with the hose attached, trying to control the holes, make sure it doesn't drag everywhere, trying to plan out what you're going to spray first, so you can get in there down the bottom, do the tight bits, and then gradually work your way out so you don't end up running your arm over something you sprayed already. It's surprising how the sand suddenly appears from places, or the media that you thought, and damn well you'd already sprayed out. So yeah, obviously as you're spraying, you're using quite a bit of air, and it suddenly sort of blows a bit of media out somewhere, so you might have to leave that area wait till it dries off, sort of smooth it down the cut, try again later on. The actual 2-pack takes quite a while to dry, so it was this particular coating that I've done now. I did sort of about 5:30, 6ish yesterday, which was Saturday. Come out here last night. It was still quite a nice warm day, and it still got quite tacky last night, so I let it dry overnight, and now obviously it is nice and dry. This has had probably the best part of 3 or 4 coats on this, the areas I can get to. There's certain bits that you notice afterwards with a decent bit of light that you maybe haven't covered as good as you should do. So we'll go back and do some more areas as well. The idea initially was just to try and do the bottom and the side panels, which obviously would be really hard to try and do with the car up or the chassis up the other way. But obviously the gun won't continuously spray if it's been inverted. So yeah, that was the original idea, which I'm all getting now. Finding it a little bit hard to try and get the gun in certain areas, like around underneath its area here, because it's quite hard to try and get the angles right. Obviously quite a lot of these will be available once I have the chassis up the other way. I've been sort of cooled underneath here as well to try and get to the footwell area. You might be able to see some of the footwell. So try and get in here as much as I can. I had to sit right way back into the sort of seating compartment here, change the fan setting so it's nice and long, which is far forward as I can to try and get in all the nooks and crannies in the corners. I've obviously done on the inside chassis rails, I've done the sides of the tunnel here, I've done the back bulkhead, the sides of the sort of arch armrest area. I'm trying to leave the roll bar, or the roll cage bit as it is, or the roll hook that was originally fitted to the car, to the last minute as possible. I want to try and refine my skills. So the area here, I'd rather leave this or final coat as late as I can. Just get the bits I need to, as in the bottom tucked away areas. Maybe smooth them down once I've got a few coats on there, and then I can try and give a final coat at a later stage. I'm trying to get all the little nooks and crannies I can do at the moment, so I'm trying to get underneath all these areas here. It's going to be really, really hard to get to once I get up there the right way. So I might have a couple more goes, mixing it all up. What has surprised me, but probably won't surprise a lot of you guys that know me, is I got incredibly dirty actually trying to clean all the guns up. That seems to be the biggest issue. Is I've got various pots and cleaning solutions that I've acquired over the last sort of couple of weeks. And even if you glue all the paint in the gun, because this particular product sticks to the actual side of the cup, actually clean all the gun up, which I'm trying to do after every single paint, is really, really dirty job. So literally it's a clean up. You might well get a couple of pots of paint done, clean all the gun up, let it sort of go tacky, and then just leave it for a while after that. So I'm quite looking forward to, maybe I might end up sort of putting it on its side again. Somebody else suggested that later on. I'm going to get a few mates around to try and spin it over. So it might be the next idea, was once I've done all the bits I can get to, is stick it on one side, let them go away after a cup of tea. They can give me another week to try and look for any areas I need to do, and then I'll get them to maybe do the other way, and then finally I'll end up probably putting it on right the way up. And try and do the underside, and a little bit of a rust repair I might do still, or some rust treatment should I say. And then what I'm going to do is stick it right over in the corner, so that I can then maximise the rest of the actual booth. So I'm quite happy with the way it's coming out. I've given quite a nice thick coat on some of the areas that are going to get hard beating. So obviously all the area underneath where the radiator is going to be, the bottom chassis rails, and the general floor area, I've given them far more paint. And I didn't mind it going on a little bit aerated, because it's giving me a bit of a sort of undersill type effect. So I'm not so bad worried about the smoothness of obviously these areas, because it's, it's not going to be seen. But I'm hoping that I can actually, by the time I turn it over and looking at doing the more effectively the top side of the chassis, is I've actually got it quite nice and smooth. So I am still quite enjoying it. So it does get really, really dirty. As you probably notice, I put some additional lighting, so I put some LEDs here, and I got one on the other end as well, because obviously the amount of light coming through the plastic as it gets dirty with the overspray is going down and down and down. So I'm just going to lean out, I'll go outside. All I've done for now, I've just wired these up. All the wiring is external. Just turn some more lights on. So what I've done is I've got a light that goes down the bottom, so when I'm working down there, underneath the chassis rail, I can actually sit underneath there and point to where it's got to go. And I've got some more lighting, say in the top corner there, just to shine down on the chassis rail from this angle, which has worked out quite well. These are just cheap ones from local DIY station, or DIY shop, sorry. A little bit of local wiring, wired up to the extension lead, RCD protected, so if you're in an issue it can go out. And obviously LEDs. It doesn't really bake you as well. There's no heat coming off of them, so it means I'm not roasting in the soup with all the spraying going as well. The weather outside's been pretty rainy, pretty crap, so this is the ideal opportunity for me to push on and get some more work done that I wouldn't have been able to do as we sort of go into winter. So good decision made on my behalf. I think I've been trying to get into as much of the tunnel as I can do. Obviously some of these areas are quite hard to get to, so you can get to some from either end, and obviously you can get to some when you're sitting underneath as well. The floor, even after maybe a 3 coats, the floor is obviously getting a nice coating of overspray, so I'm damping this down every time as well. Mask isn't working out too bad. I've just got a 3M type mask that gets nice and tight on my face. Make sure I get good face fit. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. I'm going to go out today for an event with my car mates, and then come back. I might see if I can get another coat done in just certain areas later on, just to let it there, then dry for a couple more days, and then I may well be turning it over.